election last October. They gave me a topic and requested that the service be participatory. So what that means is that there will be time in this service when you'll be talking to other people. And then we'll stop for a moment and I'll talk a while. If you like the service today, thank Elaine and Tom. Otherwise, talk to me after the service. When I was in my mid-20s, I worked in historic preservation for a small local planning agency in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was a government department. Chattanooga is kind of like the Lehigh Valley, in that the city is surrounded by small mountains and hills, and was once known for steel production. Sounds a lot like Lehigh Valley. It was the mountains that drew me on the weekends, and I hiked trails. I found myself in prayer one day, and that drove me to seek out a religious community that could accept my theism without telling me what I had to believe, support my questioning and doubts. And also, if I decided that I wasn't believing in God, would still accept me. I wanted a community that would advocate for a just and equitable world and support me spiritually, because life is challenging. I found the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga and knew that our religious tradition would be my spiritual home. I wanted to be in the church all the time. It really happened. Unitarian Universalists were my tribe. And now I'm always around Unitarian Universalists. Whatever brought you to this Unitarian Universalist congregation, it must have been either a spiritual quest or serendipity. Ours is not like any other religious tradition. We do not have only one opinion on any matter of importance. The minister may say something that nobody agrees with. Hopefully, though, not so often that it provokes frequent comment. Ultimately, this is a spiritual community, though. Unitarian Universalists can get hung up on definitions, so I'm going to help you with that whole idea of spiritual community. We don't always share the same notions of what spirituality means. At its root, the word spirit shares a root with the process of breathing in and out, respiration. As Rosh Hashanah was this week, we recall that in the Jewish scriptures, humanity was created from God breathing into dust. Spirituality might be like that, something that is taken in, that energizes you, gives you more life. So a spiritual community is a group of people who share a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals, who give more life and meaning to one another through practice, deepening, caring, and art. Let me just give that to you again. This is my working definition, so I'm proud of it. A spiritual community is a group of people who share a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals, who give more life and meaning to one another through practice, deepening, caring, and art. That's a working description of what a spiritual community might be. It's not perfect, though. Everything Unitarian Universalist is open to examination. Spiritual community is about being with others who care about you and give you the feeling you belong. Being with the spiritual community means that you are in the tribe. Even if you flounder here, you are still held in care. You are given place to be yourself. In healthy spiritual community, you are forgiven, even when that is difficult. Starhawk is known to you, some of you. She's a feminist, neo-pagan author and activist. She describes beautifully and perhaps idealistically what spiritual community is like. Starhawk describes it like this. She writes, "We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned, we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free." I don't expect every community to be entirely like the one that Starhawk envisions, at least not all the time. I do believe, though, that every Unitarian Universalist congregation with which I have been affiliated has been like this, or knew that it was their goal whether they could admit it or not, even when the congregation was too large for every member to know every other member. Starhawk says, community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. Today, I would ask you to think a moment upon this ideal that Starhawk shares with us. I invite you to consider what spiritual community means to you, and you do not need to share all of Starhawk's ideas. We're Unitarian Universalists. Each may have an ideal of spiritual community. Let us take a moment of silence to reflect on spirituality and community together. Being in silence together is one of the privileges of being in a spiritual community. We think of community as words. It's not always that. Sometimes it's just being silent with each other, knowing that we are supporting each other in the silence. I know what are the spiritual aspects of this congregation? What strength does this congregation give you? I now invite you to share your thoughts with others in this room, people near you. If you're new to the congregation, don't feel any pressure. You can just smile and listen. I know that we have some visitors with us and we welcome you. As I said, what are the spiritual aspects of this congregation? What strength does this congregation give you? I now invite you to share your thoughts with others who are nearby. If you're on Zoom, I invite you to share your thoughts in the chat. I hate to ask you to come back,
Talk all day.
I've been watching your hands moving around, so I know there's some interesting conversation going on.
Just cut up to the good part.
Coffee hour.
Sorry. Maybe that gives us straight. Coffee hour, yeah. Would anyone like to share the spiritual aspects of this congregation or the strength that it provides? Don't be shy. Yes.
So do you just want me to shout it and then you'll repeat it for the folks on the
Sure.
So I was talking with Jordan, who's new, so we weren't actually doing an assignment. But it's hard not to miss that Jordan and Melissa have brought their daughter. And for me, a big part of this community was a place where I raised my kids. So I would say that a place where like bringing your children is welcome and people are glad to see them. And we're working on this, but there's like things for kids that are, enriching their lives.
Bernie?
Our group talked, was pretty much on the same page in terms of the strong sense of community that is provided by the
Tom?
Just wanted to give a couple of comments. Thank you for giving this today. Elaine and I really appreciate it. Part of our idea was that same kind of an idea, needing to help pull us together as a real better spiritual community. Also part of a way of showing our spiritual side and a kind of kindness as part of our overall mission. And I think, again, we want to do this a better job of it and find ways to do that. And again, Lord, thank you so much for leading us in that today.
I apologize to those on Zoom because I have been remiss. By the original understanding, Sarah said that she brought her children here to bring them up as Unitarian Universalists. And Bernie said he came for community, a sense of togetherness. And Tom said that he wanted the congregation to focus, and just look at me, shake your head if I'm completely wrong, wanted to emphasize the spiritual aspects of being in community. Would anybody else like to share?
I can.
Please do.
So Amy and I talked a bit about the caring part of this community, and that if someone needs help with something, everybody's there. Because she was saying an instance that happened to her, and she's a relatively newer member, so the fact that she's felt this so powerfully, and you do, when there's something wrong, everybody steps up to help, and I just think that's incredible.
Would anyone online like to share something?
Hey, Reverend Larry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Mariana. I just wanted to read one comment that we had from Kate Reselman, who said, fellow humans of good intentions, while not perfect, accepting of the spirit of all its individuals, and working together to improve ourselves and our communities.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Well, when you plan out something like this, you never know how long or how much people have to say. So that was what we had for sharing our thoughts on that. If anyone wishes to speak more. One of the things I think of when yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to say something. It's not just this community. I think it's reaching out to our neighbors and other people too. I mean, we get the tools here, but we should use them not just here, but elsewhere.
So if I hear what you're saying, I think you are saying that the congregation gives you the strength to carry your community into the larger community. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Any more? Thank you for sharing your thoughts about the spiritual community. The work of this church is there for all of us. One of the aspects of ministry is that it is twofold. There are ordained clergy who are called ministers. Ministry, however, is not only for the clergy. It is what each of us does and what each of us does together in community. It's about relationship building. And in many ways, this reality is lived out. We may perceive this spiritual community differently. And one of the many aspects of being Unitarian Universalists is that we understand that no single person understands completely the nature of spiritual community. We know that we are stronger together than we would be alone. Our journey is to encourage one another to live truthfully, kindly, and to be of service to the world at large. May we learn and experience and grow deeper in that which gives life and faith and hope and love. Amen.